What is going on, my mates? Hope you're having an outstanding day. Today I'm going to be recording a video that has been highly requested, not so much on YouTube, but on my Instagram account. I've been getting so many messages like, Nate, how do you edit your photos that you post on Instagram? And I'm like, dude, I'm going to tell you, my mate. I'm going to tell you right now. First of all, what I use to edit all of my photos, unless it's the exception of an iPhone photo, this, that, or the other, pretty much all my photos that I edit are on Adobe Lightroom. And a quick side note, if you have an iPhone or an Android or something like that, and you take a picture on your iPhone and you're just on the go and it's a super good snap and you want to get it ready to post on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you post it, download an app called Polar because it's like Lightroom. Obviously not as good, not as many features, not as much control, but it is truly the next best thing if you don't have Lightroom and you just have an iPhone, you snap a pic and you want to edit it real quick. Check it out, check out Polar. I'm using Lightroom right here by Adobe. It's like $10 a month to rent it, dude. So if you want to edit photos and make them look good, have it be easy, have it be fun, get Lightroom. Let's jump into my computer and I'm going to show you how I edit my photos. Alrighty, so here we are. I'm about to right here. I'm just going to try to straighten it out as best as I can, try to get the horizon lines as straight as possible. It's not always going to be perfect, but as long as it's pretty much perfect, that's kind of all that really matters with photography because it's just basically how it looks, not it's not about perfection, but just get it as close as you possibly can because it's all about the human eye, and as long as it looks straight to the human eye, that's pretty much all that matters because that's ultimately who's going to be viewing it. So that's what I really like to do first, just kind of make my crops, just kind of see what I'm working with. And then obviously exposure is pretty important. It can drastically alter the photo, so here I'm just bringing up the exposure just a little bit just to brighten up the photo. Then I usually like to go to temperature. Let's see. Usually make it a little bit colder. I'm just going to bump it down to 5 right there. Nothing too drastic yet. And then we have our highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. See, I'm pulling down the highlights right there. And as you can see, the sky's getting a little bit darker. And then I'm moving down to my shadows right here. Kind of pulling those down a little bit. You can see it's getting a little bit darker in the dark areas. Let's see. Yeah, that looks about good. Let's see. And by the way, if you click the slash button, you can do before and after if you don't know that about Lightroom. Just not the front slash, but the back slash kind of on the far side of the keyboard. And then, as you can see, I moved down to, let's see, those are the whites right there. Let's see. And this is pre-recorded without audio, so bear with me here. But yeah. And then after that, I usually bump down almost everything depending on the photo, just because I like to have it like be pretty contrasty. Nothing too ridiculous, but I do like to have a good amount of contrast. And as you can see right here, I am bumping up the contrast to, I think like 10 or 15, just to give it a little bit more, exposure, or not contrast. Dang, I'm a dummy head. But anyway, yeah, so I'm bumping up the contrast a little bit. You can kind of tell it's a little bit more contrasty, if you will. And then clarity really kind of depends for me. It really just depends on the photo. So basically, if you decrease it, the photo gets a little bit softer, and then if you increase it, of course, kind of what happens is you're just able to see more details within the photo, which, depending on the photo, of course, could be very helpful or not helpful. And then I come down here to the primaries right here, and this is where you get your really crazy colors, or at least where I do. So here I am kind of messing with the green right here, messing with the hue. The hue is basically just another word for the shade of the color. So right here the greens are really green, and now it kind of depends on what you're going for. But if I were to slide the slider to the other way, I think I might do that right here. I don't, but if you slide it kind of more towards the left, they'd become quite a bit more yellow. And again, it just depends on what you're going for, what your style is. There's really no right or wrong with photography. Obviously, if you put up the exposure to like 1,000, that just doesn't look good. And everyone can pretty much agree on that. But for the most part, there's really no right or wrong as long as you're just being creative and making art. And that's why photography is so cool, because it's subjective. Here I am kind of messing with the blue primary right there. That's where I get kind of the weird blue shadows and everything. And here I'm bumping up the saturation on that a little bit. Typically, I don't really saturate my photos that much, but sometimes down there, that's what I like to do. And then let's see right here, I go to the lens corrections, and basically what that does is if you're shooting on a lens that distorts the photo just a tiny bit, you can kind of correct that. Obviously I shoot on a Sony. Actually, I don't think you guys know that, but that is what I shoot on. So I just went ahead and selected Sony. I think it's just saved like that. And it fixes the photo just a little bit. You can really tell if you go ahead and play with it. And something that I do that I wouldn't say a lot of people do, but I like my photos to be pretty dang sharp. And as you can see, I'm just kind of zooming in, goofing around, just seeing what it looks like. I think I go over to the right a little bit. Yep. As you can see, pretty sharp. Take down the sharpness, and that's what it looks like. Bump it back up. I usually do anywhere between 25 and 50. Try not to go over 50 just because it starts to look kind of ridiculous. Even 50 is a little bit high, but anyway, that's just kind of my thing. So then after that, what I like to do is I go to the split toning, which is just highlights and shadows. So as you can see, I'm messing with the highlights right here. The shadows are down there. I'm just kind of showing you mates exactly what they do and kind of how it affects them. So the top slider is just the color of the highlights or the shadows. And then the bottom tab, as you are probably reading right now, is just saturation. So let's say you put it on the orange right there and then slide it all the way up. Obviously the highlights are going to be hella saturated, hella orange. Nothing wrong with that if that's your style, but not really my style, I think. I don't like to do anything too crazy with the split toning, just a little bit. You know, I think that's kind of the point for split toning, at least for me, is just to add a little something extra to your photo, you know what I'm saying? But just the slightest details, because as you can see, I kind of put it where I want and then kind of slide it up just a little bit just to kind of see what it does, and then I slide it back down just to see what it looked like before, because that's what photography is all about, is experimentation. Because the more you experiment and the more you just suck for a while, the more you progress, right? Because the more that you suck, the more you're able to improve upon your mistakes, right? And now here we are on the HSL panel. That stands for hue, saturation, luminance. Hue, again, is pretty much just the shade of that particular color. Right here, you can make the greens way more green. You can make them a little bit more on the yellow-orange shot. Dang, I can't talk. But you can make it a little bit more on the yellow-orange side. As you can see, I'm kind of goofing around with those right now. Typically, you know, it's really hard to say. It's just kind of on a case-by-case basis for me, depending on just the photo and the other colors in the photo. But in this one, I made the greens a little bit more on the green side, almost kind of blue, but not quite. So here we are. I'm just kind of goofing around with it, and then I kind of pull the blues, and that just kind of makes it more purple, and that's not really what I'm going for. I'm going for more of a blue, because I like my blues, oranges, pinks, greens, just kind of all that stuff. Then you can see my before and after right there, pretty dang sweet. And then let's see, just kind of messing around a little bit more. And then I don't usually do anything too crazy with the saturation tab. What's cool is if someone's skin is really orange, you can just take down the saturation just a tad, and it usually fixes skin tone a little bit, I guess depending on your skin tone. But yeah, that's what's really cool about that. I mean, this little tab right here just gives you so much control over the different colors and everything, which is really cool, because I mean, if you just have like an iPhone app, you mostly can't really do that, but thanks to Lightroom you can, and it's super duper easy. And then there is, let's see, the luminance. That just kind of has to do with basically how bright that color is. So I'm not sure if I go over there. And then I'm just kind of messing with the roof. As you can kind of see, the more you drag it, the more the shadow either gets kind of yellow, kind of orange. I think I went for more of an orange on that one. Then kind of going back to luminance. Luminance is just pretty much how bright that color is. So actually I did go over there. So I dragged down the greens quite a bit right there and pull them back up. And then you can make them really black, really bright, I guess, if you want to. It's really up to you. It's up to your creativity. Now we have something right here called Well, this is the vibrance right here that I'm messing with right now. I'm showing you how vibrant you can make it. I think I just put it up a little bit, just made the colors pop a little bit more, pretty subtle. That's kind of what I like about photography. You can make everything so subtle, but when it's all combined together, it really makes quite the difference. Now here we're coming down to grain. I just kind of did a pretty extreme example just to kind of show what grain was if you weren't really sure. I think just by looking at that, you can kind of figure out what it is. So I think I just, if I remember right, it was, yep, 22 and 22. You know, just adds a little something extra to the photo without it being super ridiculous. There we go. Looking pretty good. There we go, before and after. Looking pretty darn solid. And then I go back up. I don't really do anything there. That's just kind of for cropping and rotation of the photo if you want to get really crazy. And then I go up to the tone curves, right? So the tone curves are basically, so I think I scroll up, and basically what it does is you're able to mess with the midtones, shadows, and highlights without messing up any of the stuff up here, right? Kind of like I'm circling around. So basically you get to mess with it again without kind of messing up your previous edits. So as you can see, I'm kind of pulling down the blacks a little bit on this one. Kind of do that with most of my photos. It just gives it some more contrast. Just makes the shadows pop a little bit more. Makes the photo just look a little bit better. And what's so cool is you can just get so creative with these, because you can, right here I'm just doing a standard S curve, just kind of 3 points, and just kind of bringing the shadows down and then the highlights up. And here I'm just kind of showing you what it does. I'm messing with the midtones. You can get really crazy, obviously, if you do that. You can make the photos just like not look good at all, depending on how crazy you go. So try to be as subtle as possible. I know some of you mates might be saying, well, I mean, your photography is pretty not subtle, but yeah, my colors are pretty crazy. That's just kind of the way I like it, though. But I think you get what I'm saying. I mean, if you drag one of those anchor points all the way to the bottom, you kind of saw what it would do to the photo. Then up here, that's just kind of that's kind of clipping the blacks. So as you can see, it's making the sky a little bit more dark. And then that's kind of not what I'm going for. I'm trying to make the sky purple. I think that's what I do next, if I remember. So, yep, I go over to the green. So if you were to drag any of those points upwards, it would make either the shadows, midtones, or highlights really, really green. And I think I show that right here. Yeah, hella green, hella purple. Yep, you can make it look ridiculous like I was saying. But I'm going to clip right there. Nah, I decided not to do that. But see, if you just kind of clip it down like that, check out what it does to the sky. Pretty legit, right? Pretty dang cool. It's crazy what you can do. And if you go to the kind of the red panel and you pull down just a little bit, you can actually make the sky more of a pink color. And again, it just depends on what you want. Just depends on the other colors of the photo. But yeah, it's really, really cool what you can do with tone curves after you kind of mess with everything else. That's just kind of the order that I usually go in. And it, you know, sometimes the process is different. Sometimes I'll just throw on a preset and kind of modify as needed. It doesn't really matter.